you're going to have to overcome in that day. But in the totality of that day, when you lay your head down to rest at night, you want to be able to say that because you expected to have an unstoppable day at the beginning of the day, you had an unstoppable day at the end of the day. And that's what I do. I speak life to my situation.
That's right. We had another lady on the show, and that was what her ministry was. She was the Speak Life. If you do hashtag Speak Life, you'll find her. But
right.
I
know her.
But you know, okay. But yeah, that's a great, because the Bible does say you speak things that are not as though they are. So that's I guess how you create that the life that you desire is to speak things that are not as though they are. And what do you think about that?
I wholeheartedly agree. You've got to speak into your life what you want on a daily basis. Too many of us can't get out of our own way. And what I mean by that is we keep all of our desires, our hopes, and dreams trapped inside our brain. Well, our brain is only so big. It's a small muscle inside of your head, literally the size of putting your two hands together. It was not equipped to continuously hold on to stuff. Its function is to think and then put you into a state of motion where you make things happen. And then it takes in more information, and you use that information to create more things. It was not just a storage bin. But what we do is we store all our hopes, all our dreams inside of there. We never get it out of our head, put it into action, and then we wonder why our lives is the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
So, you got to speak on it, and like you say, you got to take action. You got to take massive action.
Massive action. Yeah. I've been my book reading for this week has been The Secret, and The Secret, it was like the best New York Times bestseller, and all over the world had these top teachers. If nobody's read The Secret, I know it probably many have, but I've been reading. That's one of the tips, I guess, are the keys to, having the life you desire or having an unstoppable life is to speak those things that are not as though they are. So I love that tip. It just confirms what I'm reading, of course, the second or third time of reading The Secret. But, yeah.
Definitely. I read the book, I had the workshop, and I watched the video. So definitely you get a lot of things. You get a lot of things out of all three versions, because sometimes you can read it and then you process it. But then when you do the work, the workbook. It's a workbook, and like we just said, you take that massive action, which means you have to do some work. And then the video, it gives you that picture paints 1,000 words.
Yes.
You get to see other people talking and expressing and letting you know how they felt when they found out the secret in their own life, because the secret is different for all of us. So on this journey, we all have to find our own secret reason for being here. A good friend of mine who's part of another group that I'm a part of, he says that the universe charges you rent for being here. And the payment is what you give back to the universe in return. So you've got to find out what it is that you're supposed to be paying rent for, what it is you're supposed to be giving back. And that's when you start living the unstoppable life.
Wow. Because I see that's one of your skills, 11 skills of unstoppable people, is expectation of success in everything that you do. That is, I guess that's one of is these 11 skills I'm looking at on your site. Is those your 11 tips on your book?
Yes, that's one of the, that's the E in unstoppable. It's to expect success every day. And like I said earlier, you know, the expectation creates the motivation that leads to the implementation. Let me say that again. The expectation creates the motivation that leads to the implementation.
Come on now, that's good. I like that.
If you don't expect that you're going to get something when you put something out, then you're not motivated to do it. And it's just that simple. You got to expect that you're going to get a return on your investment. And the greater the return, the greater the motivation. The greater the motivation, the harder you're going to work to get that return because you expect to get that return in return.
Right. Let me ask you this: what advice? I follow Joyce Myers. Joyce Myers, she's the TV minister. People who don't know her, she's a TV minister. You can Google her. But she was molested as a child and just really had a bad life. So eventually, her expectation became, "This never gonna, nothing's good gonna happen to me, or I'm never gonna have peace or life or happiness or whatever." I don't know. She just expected the worst. Let's put it like that. So, what advice could you give somebody that possibly has had a bunch of negativity when it comes to expectation?
Well, when it comes to negativity with expectation or with wants, with desires, or just the negativity of people in your life, you've got to learn how to learn the lesson from that negativity. One of the things, the very first thing I talk about in the book is the letter U, and that's having an unwilling to fail attitude. A lot of people talk about, they throw that phrase around, failure is not an option. Well, in life, failure happens.
Oh, come on now.
Failure happens in business, failure happens in relationships, failure happens in expectations. I may expect you to do one thing and you do something completely different. Now, does that stop me from doing what I need to do if you don't do what I expected you to do? It could. But if you recognize that people are in your life for 3 reasons, and the best-selling book ever, the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3, that people are here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Come on now.
When you recognize how each person is supposed to be in your life, then you're going to learn to deal with that person better. If I know this person is only here for a reason, to help me get to some place or to help me solve a problem or to help me see something a little bit clearer, then I'm going to put that person in one category. If I know a person is only here for a season, like a relationship, then I know that person is here to teach me something or to get me through something or to help me get to something. And I'm going to put that person in a certain category. And then, of course, everybody hopes that there are people that are in their lives for a lifetime, people that can watch them grow, people who can hold them accountable for growing, and people who can, keep them grounded, keep them authentic. And that's A in being unstoppable, that you want to be authentic. But you got to have people in your circle of influence that keep you grounded and keep you being Terry, well-rounded Terry, instead of the Terry that could get lost in all the fame and success and forget who they really are.
Right. That's good. I love it. Let me ask you about how you've handled, I like to ask this question to the entrepreneur just because we talk about failure and we talk about failures on this calls, but how have you handled failures in your business and how did you turn those failures into success?
Let's see. Well, I handled failure. I'll give you a good incident. So I told you in 2008 my world came to a halt with big financial crash in America. I was working a good government job, and they were looking to lay off people. And, of course, if you were making a certain amount of money and they could hire somebody new and start them off at the bottom, then that saved them money.
Yeah.
I was going through a period where I had to help my sister who's going through an illness that she's still going through now, and she has 2 kids that are now teenagers. So I would help her out in different ways, picking the kids up from school, making sure they got to school, making sure that they had their homework done, being a father role model for them because she's a single parent. Sometimes you have to choose between what you do for your family and what your job expects you to do for them. And it all came to a head when I decided that it was more important for me to be there for my family than it was for me to be there for my job. It gave them It gave them the perfect opportunity, the perfect excuse to put my proverbial head on the chopping block, and that's what happened.
Right.
What did I learn from that? I learned from that failed relationship with my job that I no longer wanted to be in a position where I had to make that choice, because I know I'm always going to choose my family over that job.
Mm-hmm.
So in looking for a job to work on somebody else's dream, I started positioning myself for a career, for a purpose, for a passion that I could live on my own terms and make my own decisions and still be available to my family when they needed me, but still have the ability to hone my craft and work on what it was that this serves my passion and serves my purpose, pays my rent for being here in the universe.
Mhm. All right.
And that's what people got to learn.
Yeah, you gotta do that, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Let me ask you one more question. Let me ask you a question about, we ask all the entrepreneurs this. What books are you currently reading?
Well, because I interview, just like you, I interview a lot of up-and-coming authors, coaches, speakers to showcase what they do. I read their books because, S. Brown, great. Tony Robbins, great. Joyce Meyers, great. But they've already arrived. I'm looking for those people that have that message, that are on their journey to arriving. And there's some powerful messages out there. I've got this one guy, his name is Otis, Odis Bellinger, and his book is called No Reason Why You Can't Win. Otis is out of Detroit, Michigan, and he works with African-American males. He's helping them to promote their success, to let them know that they're a different way. And so it's a powerful statement. There's no reason why you can't win. There's no reason why you can't win.
No
Jerry.
reason.
There's no reason why I can't win. There's no reason why anyone listening to this call can't win. As long as they are willing to live their life on their own terms, like you say, like if they learn the key attributes that I talk about being unstoppable and having that mind that says there's no reason why. There literally is no reason why.
No reason. So
I'm reading that book, Otis Bellinger, No Reason Why You Can't Win. You can look him up online. And then this other great guy, his name is Johnny Mack. And his book, when I heard the title, I said, I've got to have it. Have you heard the term start so you can finish?
No, yeah, I haven't heard of that, but it sounds good.
You start at the starting line, you run to the finish line. Well, the name of his book is Finish So You Can Start. And he's basically talking about there are things that you've got to finish, things you've got to stop procrastinating about and finish so that you can start having the life that you want to have.
Wow.
So it's powerful. So
that's good.
It's the secret of the law of completion. The secret, and those other books talk about the law of attraction. He's talking about the law of completion. Complete some things in your life, and then you can start having the life that you want to have. So those are the books that I'm reading right now.
That's good. I really like that. I like that title because I believe there are some people that have got to, they're not finishing something. And that finishing is what's going to help them get the start of the life they desire. So I love that.
Just think about relationships real quick, and I'll cut that one off. There's a lot of people that are in relationships that they know they need to have finished, completed, had enough. But for one reason or another, they're still in that relationship. And you hear them say, I can't do what I want to do. This relationship is holding me back. You've got to finish that so that you can start doing what it is you want to do,
Wow, that's good. So we're going to have one more question, but before we do, we have a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Have you ever wanted to be a published author? Or how about, would you like to travel the world to get paid to speak and tell others of your story and how others could get over? Would you like to be an Amazon best-selling author? Or maybe you would like to create your own courses and products and get paid